Hey guys, how are you? Welcome to the Brooklyn Knitfolk podcast. This is episode number 25. I think 25. Crap. No, because last time I was saying that this podcast was a quarter of a century old, whatever the hell that means. So this is episode 26. Welcome to episode 26 of the Brooklyn Knitfolk podcast. My name is Jacqueline. You can find me on Instagram, Ravelry, Pinterest, anywhere that you can find as @JacquelineSalem. Show notes for this podcast and all other podcasts can be found on the Brooklyn Knitfolk Ravelry group. And that's also where you'll find information about things like Sucre Sucre miniatures discounts, show notes, Cal information, although we don't have a Cal going right now, but just, you know, the basic rundown. And then I think that's all the intro things that you need to know. Oh, if you haven't noticed, I've been doing Vlogmas. So if you don't know what Vlogmas is, it's where you do a short daily vlog every day from the beginning of December through Christmas. And I'm on day 4 right now, or I'm filming day 4, but I'll have that uploaded tomorrow for you. So it's been so much fun showing you guys like little bits and pieces of New York City in the same way that you guys like love all my intros. It's like my intros on crack because I get to show you like even more of the city and it's even more magical because it's Christmas time. So yesterday's vlog, for example, was at the Rockefeller Center and the lights on the Saks at 5th Avenue, and it was just awesome. So if you want to see New York City Christmas magic, then head over to the Vlogmas episodes. I guess there's not really a word for that. Vlogmas vlogs to check those out if you're interested. So I think that's everything for admin info. We'll just jump right into the episode. So I did finish my Secret Garden socks. And here they are. I love how they turned out. So, so pretty. The pattern is one that I made up, but if you like the pattern, there's one that Cabin 4 wrote that is like basically the same exact design. So it's just a cable facing, 2 cables both facing in, and then a panel of seed stitch in the middle, and I broke it up with a purl stitch on either side, 2 on the edges, and then 1 in the center before this panel of seed stitch here. So I love how it turned out. It was more work than your typical vanilla sock, of course, but the back of it is just plain stockinette in the round. Isn't this so beautiful? The yarn is Sweet Sparrow yarns on her tweed base, which is House Wren in the Secret Garden colorway. So these are my Secret Garden socks. And I just love how they turned out. I really need to get some sock blockers, you guys, so I can more easily show you things, but for now sock hand will have to do until then. My typical recipe is a 2x2 rib for the cuff, and then a pretty long leg here because I like my socks kind of long, a fish lips kiss heel, and then a rounded toe with a Kitchener on the edge. My Kitchener is getting better, I will say. Practice makes perfect though, right? I've almost got it memorized now. Kitchener. There it is. I just love Julie's yarn. I think it's so pretty. Again, that's Sweet Sparrow yarns. She has an Etsy shop. She also sells project bags. So yeah, I love these. They fit really well. No complaints. I think these might be my favorite pair of socks that I've made so far, so that's exciting. I wish I had started knitting socks earlier in the year. I think I've already said this before, but I only have like 7 pairs right now, and if I had started earlier in the year, I could have participated in the Boxo Socks Cal. It's funny though, because I put them all in this bag. All of my hand knit socks are in this bag. I have not worn any of them one time. I'm still saving all of them to wear at the beginning of the year, even though I won't have 12 pairs of socks. But Kristen of the Yarngasm podcast, who is hosting the Box of Socks Cal, she said that she's going to do it again next year. So at least I'll get to officially participate next year. So here's my bag of socks. And then now I can add my Secret Garden socks to the bag. The next finished object, because I have 2, and once you see what it is, you'll be, it'll come as no surprise. The coveted Red Heart Christmas yarn. So when I showed this off on my latest podcast, I had no idea that this Red Heart yarn was discontinued. And what a shame, right? Because it is so fun to knit with this. It's my first ever self-striping, self-patterning, self-doobly-doo, whatever. It's my first yarn that is self-patterning. And it was so addictive. You just like could not stop after, doing a couple stripes. You had to keep going with the rest. The cuff is, again, 2x2 rib. And this is a mini that somebody gave me. I want to say it's a friend named Tanya, who's T-Knit Pearl on Instagram. But I can't remember for sure. But it's like a cream colored single ply yarn. And it has gold stellina in it. I don't know if that's coming off on camera. Maybe if I kind of like turn it a lot. I don't know. So, excuse me, 2x2 rib for 20 rounds, a long-ish leg, fish lips kiss heel, rounded toe. And there you have it. I love these. I love these. These are so fun to knit. So fun. What I pictured, posted a picture on Instagram. You guys went crazy over it. So I knew I had to track some down to do a giveaway, and I did do a giveaway for 2 balls of yarn on my Instagram account. So thank you so much to Heather, who donated those from her stash. I was like emailing everybody on Ravelry trying to find people who are willing to give me this Christmas yarn. So it's really popular. I did comment on Red Heart's Instagram feed saying like, please bring this back, and they're like, we passed it on to our development team, so we'll keep you posted or whatever. So I would highly recommend that if you really want to get your hands on this, that we just kind of flood the Red Heart Instagram feed with please bring back the Christmas yarn, because they, brands listen. You never know. So these are my Christmas socks, and I love them, and I finished these, not counting the days in between where I didn't work on them, the actual knitting time I spent on them, 2 days tops to finish these. It was such a quick knit. It was awesome. I loved it. So immediately after casting these off, I'm like, well, I have to cast on another pair of self-striping yarn socks. So I did. Now we're moving into works in progress, by the way, if that wasn't obvious. So this is my current work in progress, and only work in progress really. I have others, but I haven't touched them because I've just been so busy with the Thanksgiving and holiday season, and I've only just got back into town earlier this week. So I don't have many other projects that I've worked on. But this is my coloring book yarns sock. And this is the Merry Everything Hexie colorway. Here's her tag. And Coloring Book Yarns is an indie dyer. Her name is Anne. It's fingering weight yarn, 400 yards, and it's an 80/20 superwash merino nylon. The yarn is a pretty high twist compared to yarns that I normally work with. And that means that the socks have incredible stitch definition. I'm in love with the colors of these socks. My favorite colors every time I get to them. I love the red and I love the chartreuse green. It's so fun to work with these colors. They're just so bright and cheerful. And I knit all of my socks on 9-inch circulars. And combining the 9-inch circulars with the, twist of the yarn, the stitch definition is just incredible. 9-inch circulars, the reason why I love them so much, I have tried Magic Loop and DPNs, but you don't get any laddering with 9-inch circulars, and the stitches are just perfect. They're so neat and even. I love it. And then something I mentioned on my day 2 of Vlogmas, or maybe it was yesterday's, I can't remember. The yarn is incredible because when it switches colors, let me show you an example here. So let's take this baby pink to light green switch right here, for example. Every time the yarn switches to a different color, there's at least 3 to 5 stitches of gradual color gradation into the next color, so you never get an abrupt jog with the color of the yarn. To me, that's like next level quality. I think that's really cool, just how there's such a lovely change. It's not just like next stitch and then it's next color. So I think that's really cool. So yeah, I'm on the foot for this one. It's my Sucre miniature iced coffee. And as a reminder, you can always get a 15% off discount. I am a brand rep for her, which basically means that I promote her brand because I think the stuff she makes is really awesome. And you can get a 15% off discount through my Ravelry group. So yeah, foot to go. Just did the heel. And then I'll start on the next one. And this is living in my Simple Love Made project bag that Amber made for me as part of our advent calendar swap. And it's made out of Rifle Paper Company fabrics, and I just love it. And it also has a lavender sachet in there, which always makes your project smell so good. So I recommend getting some dried lavender to put into your projects because it smells really, really good. And that's really my only work in progress, honestly, that I've been actually working on. So with that, I guess we're gonna move into spoolish games. And I don't have any progress on my dress because, like I said, I just got back into town a few days ago. So I don't have any progress on my dress yet, and I'm waiting for fabric to come to use for the lining. So in the meantime, I've been dream sewing and thinking up which projects I want to work on next. So I thought I would share those with you all. Last week I showed you guys an insane pattern haul. Every time I go to Tennessee to visit my family, I always stop by Joann's and pick up patterns that I've had my eye on. And I find them usually like on Pinterest or just searching on, McCall's website or something like that. And so I kind of make note of them on a Pinterest board of like patterns that I want to have in my collection. And then other times I'm just sitting through when I'm at Joann's and find ones that I really love. So this is the first one I'm interested in making right here. This is McCall's M7433. And I just love this vintage style dress. I'm probably going to make the short sleeves version. There's the dress right there. And the fabric I want to use is this crepe that I've had in my fabric stash for just a little bit. It was in the last thing I purchased from fabric.com. So I think that this will be really pretty for this pattern, and it's the perfect material type because it says that some of the more optimal fabrics for this pattern are crepe. So I think this will be great for that. By the by, speaking of Big Four patterns, thank you so much to everybody who offered their suggestions on why my clothing so far that I've been sewing has been coming out like really, really large. It turns out that the big four patterns frequently build in a lot more positive ease than most of the ready-to-wear garments that we're like buying on the street, you know? So even according to my measurements, even if I'm going by my measurements, they're still turning out too big. So it was suggested to me by many people, thank you so much, that the finished garments, looking at the finished garment sizing and the pattern piece sizes first and measuring those will do me a lot of good to kind of avoid having to take everything in and waste more fabric later on. So thank you so much for that suggestion. I thought I would share that with you all too so that I could report back for any other newbie sewers. Check your finished garments measurements, which is usually printed on the back of the pattern. Sometimes it's printed on the pattern pieces, or you can just measure the actual pieces themselves and then subtract the seam allowances from each of those pattern pieces to kind of get a sense of how big the different parts are going to be compared to your body. So that's something I'll definitely be paying more attention to in the future, but for now, just show you that this is the pattern I'm looking at making next, along with this one right here. So I really want to make this short skirt version out of this diamond knits fabric. It doesn't say on here that you can use knits fabrics with it, but it's not like aggressively, it is stretchy and it is a knits fabric, but it's not like aggressively stretchy, so I'm thinking it will still probably work with this, and I'll just have to use my stretch needle on my sewing machine. But I really, really, really want just like a skirt with this diamond printed quilting on it. I think it's gonna look really cool. So honestly, this one's probably first up because it'll be the quickest, and then after that, I'll go for the dress. And then the last sewing project I want to show you, you've seen this before and I haven't made any progress on it in a while, but my grandmother started this quilt by doing all of the panels. She did all the embroidery on the panels and then she picked out the fabrics and left the rest of it to me. So I cut out all the fabrics, I sewed the top together, and now, here's the top, it's a twin size. So now all I have left to do is just the actual quilting part. And I have the batting, 100% cotton. I tend to always go for one of the warm and natural or something like that, but always a cotton batting for my quilting projects personally. So got the batting. And then the backing fabric is in a bag over here, which is like in the bottom of the bag, so I won't try to dig that out right now. But I really want to make a dent in getting this done, especially before Christmas, because I'd love to show it to my mama around Christmas time, because I think that would be really fun. And then speaking of sewing, Sarah of the Yarns at Ginhu podcast recently talked about old fiber friends, and she posed a question to her listeners about what your old fiber friend or fiber craft friend is, and hers was crochet. And that just really got me thinking about sewing again and how much I really love sewing and just how connected it makes me feel to my grandmother. I learned how to sew over 20 years ago on a machine. I have owned a machine since I was 8 years old, and then I was hand sewing before that with her. So it's just a really special craft to me, if for no other reason than because it kind of ties me to my family. And now that I have my Mama's Bernina machine, Bernina sewing machine, it just like brings it full circle, because I learned to sew not on that machine but on a different machine that she had, and she used this one for several years, at least a decade. So I think it's really cool and exciting and heartwarming to be able to use the same machine that she sewed on, and I just get all the warm fuzzies every time I get to sew anything. So it's really become like a real love, and I'm so glad that I can actually sew more now, because before I just didn't have the space. So I've made this dedicated workspace desk in my room, and that's just it's really great. So just thought I'd share that with you guys. And with that, that's really all that there is for knitting and sewing today. I have a couple of acquisitions and stash enhancements to show you. The first one, you've probably already seen this if you've been watching Vlogmas, but if not, did I mention how obsessed I am with coloring book yarns? So this is coloring book yarns in her Sweet Tooth colorway. Look how pretty. Look how pretty. Ugh, I love this color. Look how pretty. Look how pretty it is. Oh, I just love this. I've been lusting after this colorway for so long, and I'm so excited to finally have it. It's got light pinks, yellow, red, like a mint green in there. Love this. I was really also hoping she would have her autumn and mint colorway in stock, but she didn't. So this one will have to do for now until I can get my hands on that one as well. But if you didn't already know, I've mentioned this a couple times, coloring book yarns, she does very infrequent updates. We're talking like at least a month or so, maybe more, between her updates. And twice now, I've gotten yarns in her updates through just randomly checking Etsy from time to time because she does them in secret. Supposedly she has a newsletter you can sign up for, which I have, but I never actually get the newsletter. So there's really no other way to get the yarn, and if you didn't, just like pop into the Etsy shop and look. So that's my recommendation to you guys if you want to try to get some coloring book yarns, because it can be kind of tricky to get a hold of. So just check her Etsy shop every once in a while, see if it's there, and you might get lucky sometimes, because I have, again, twice in a row. So I'm really excited to have this in my stash because I've been wanting this colorway for so long, and I'm finally have it, so happy Christmas to me. And then the next acquisition was a swap. So I'm sure most of you will have heard of Melody of the Mandarins podcast, and she also has really gorgeous designs. She organized earlier this year a seasonal and local swap, and it was by far my favorite swap that I've ever done. Verena, who is the Wool Club on Instagram, who recently just started becoming a full-time designer, so that's so exciting. Congratulations, Verena. She made that swap like amazing for me. I just love this swap. The concept of swapping something that's like local and seasonal to where you live, I think is really fun to see like what other options are around the world, you know, what the other things people can share. And I love sharing, you know, like Brooklyn local things, so I just love this swap. So this time around, my partner was Branka, who is from, oh my gosh, I just blanked. I want to say it's Scandinavian. I want to say Finland? I could be wrong about that. I'm sorry. I'll put it on the screen if I am. But maybe it's on her card. Oh, no. Okay. So she sent to me these two yarns. It's by Moods of Colors. And this is a local indie dyer to her. They're both this gorgeous gray color, and it's called Ashes and Memories. So the yarn content, 100% merino. So this will be great for a shawl, especially because there's two of them. So, oh, I just love that. So pretty. So that was the first thing, yarny-wise, that she sent. She also sent candy, but of course that's long gone. I have the biggest sweet tooth, you guys. I have no self-control when it comes to sweets. She also sent this raggy, which it's definitely not finger weight. It looks like worsted or almost bulky. So I'm not exactly sure because it's got like this striping in it. So I don't know if it makes a striping hat or what. I'm not really sure what it looks like knit up, but I'm curious. But yeah, so I'm not sure what this is gonna look like. It's interesting though. And then she also sent me a lovely little selection of minis. Another little assortment of teas, acorns from her garden, and other little just kind of treats like that. So thank you so much, Branka. If you're watching this, I'm not even sure if she knows I have a podcast. I didn't say anything about it. But Thank you so much for sending me those goodies. I love everything so much, and that gray yarn is going to make a gorgeous shawl, so I cannot wait to knit with that. And with that, I think that that's everything. Oh no, really quick. Amber, again, is my advent calendar swap partner, and this is week 1. We did the weekly swap version as opposed to the daily swap version, and this right here is her mini that she sent me for week 1. It's her Simple Love, and it's on Merry Christmas Baby, or the colorway is called Merry Christmas Baby, and it's this lovely pink color. The camera looks like it's blowing it out just a little bit. It's not quite that white, but the lighting is odd right now. And then she also sent me Mad Tosh in Found Pottery. This is a singles. I love this little progress keeper. It's like ceramic or glass or something, I don't know. And I love everything about this. So thank you so much for that, Amber. She also sent me some handmade stitch markers, but those are in another room right now. I forgot to bring them, but I'll show them again whenever I use them. And then my last acquisition are more of these Clover DPNs, which I seem to like always be losing for some reason. I really love wooden DPNs for socks to do the last decreases of a sock for the toe, and then also to Kitchener off of. To me, the wooden needles, because of their grippiness, keep it from sliding out of the sock when I'm trying to knit those last stitches, and there's only, you know, a few stitches on each of the needles. So I really like wooden DPNs for sock knitting for the ends of the socks. Sorry, the light is like getting crazy and fading fast. So there's one more segment of the podcast that I have today. Quite a few people have asked questions in the Ask Me Anything thread that I have on Ravelry. As a reminder, this thread does exist, so if you have any questions about anything, you know I'm always 100% happy to help you out whenever I can. The first question is, I've had several actually requests to know what the pattern is. I showed off these mitts that Shara of the What Shara Made podcast knit for me, and she sent these to me as part of a swap package for a Christmas in July swap package, and I've had several questions asking what these mitts are called. It is Shara's design, and they're called the Apidae mitts. Let me spell that out for you, and I'll put it on the screen too, but it is A-P-I-D-A-E mitts. And I'm not sure if the pattern is already on Ravelry or not, but if it isn't, it should be very soon. So this is the mitts pattern. And I can tell you from having used them several times now, one of my favorite things about these is that they're 100% reversible. There is no, because they're the same on both sides, there is no left mitt or right mitt. So even if you have it on, you know, put one on this way, you could just flip it around, you know, the other way. So just so you know, that's a really great thing to know about these mitts, because it doesn't really matter like what hand you put it on first. You don't have to like finagle with that. So Apidae mitts by Shara Made. And then the next question, let's see. I'm curious, how do you wash your hand knits? Do you use specific soaps? I'm specifically looking for handmade bar soaps, but there are so many out there I cannot decide. Any suggestions? Thank you. As far as bars of soap go, I really don't have a recommendation for bars of soap, just because I personally use this Meyer's detergent. So the Meyer's Clean Day in the lavender scent, because I just like anything lavender scented. I hand wash my knitted items with a little bit of this laundry detergent, and then lay it out flat to dry or block it out to dry. So that's typically how I wash my garments. Sorry about not having any specific bars of soap recommendations, but good luck in your search. Next question. She says, I am new to knitting socks and I am working on my second pair of socks. I have made the toe a bit too long and I was wondering if you had any advice for ripping back my knitting. Should I take out the whole toe before the decreases, or is it easier to just go back a few rows? I'm not sure which would be easier because of the decreases in the toe. Any advice would be great. So if you want the best fitting sock, unfortunately, I think my recommendation would be that you have to rip out the toe and then tink back a few rows before you started your decreases. So, Kitty's trying to say hi. Yeah. This is Jafar. Sweet baby Jafar. So I think you'd have to rip out the toe, previous to any decreasing that you've done, and then tink back however many rows you need to make the sock fit best, and then re-knit the toe again. That's what I would recommend for the best fitting sock. The next question is, do you have any current favorite or go-to designers? I'm always interested in learning about the new designs. Really enjoyed the podcast. Thank you so much. My favorite designers right now, I wouldn't even say it's always changing, because anything these designers do, I'm guaranteed to like. Michelle Wong, Melanie Berg, and Andrea Mowry. Those are my top 3 right now. Anything that they make, I'm guaranteed to like. Again, Michelle Wong, Andrea Mowry, Melanie Berg. I love everything that those ladies make. Every single thing. So those are my favorite designers. You can always search through my Ravelry queue. That's where I save up a lot of patterns that I really like, if you're interested in stalking my pattern favorites. But those are definitely my favorite designers. And then I think that's it. Yep, that's it for today's questions. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to always ask. I'm always available to answer as best as I can. And if I don't know the answer, I'll always try to find out for you. And with that, I think that's everything. So I will speak to you guys again in 2 weeks, but you'll also hear from me every day for the month of December. So I hope you enjoy the Vlogmas videos as much as I have been enjoying making them. Happy knitting, happy crafting, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye! Mwah! Excuse me. Can you see I'm trying to podcast here? You don't care? He doesn't care.